was placed in my college, so I went on to work in an IT company for about 11 months as an associate software developer.
Now, how did you decide that, yes, I have to? You said that you quit your job.
To quit the job is that in the first attempt while I was working, I was able to put in fewer hours. That is primarily because of personal decisions as well. I was going to the gym for 2 hours a day, watching a TV show at night with my parents.
Streamline or focus your preparation in such a way that, or how did you do it? Like, we want to know your experience.
This is an exam, and what you studied throughout the year and what you do in those 2 hours, that is a completely different game.
How did you develop that mindset? This is only through the practice that you're saying.
I mean, I am very clear that prelims is largely a game of confidence and mindset.
What do you think the exam demands out of an aspirant?
In terms of mains, I feel it's more of an analytical paper.
How were your note making? How did you do your note
I
making?
basically use a printed material. I just highlight with different pens at different stages of the reading.
Made you choose philosophy out of this?
The environment at my house, people are very interested in reading books on philosophers, authors, etc.
From Pune to Trivandrum, how did you end up? How did you end up at ENLITE IAS?
I kind of looked at where he went for coaching. His topper copies were available online on the Enlight website.
Efficacy be achieved through online mentoring also. How do you feel about it?
Personally, for me, I felt like online mentoring was great. Offline mentoring, there are aspects of commuting.
How has your journey been lightened?
I think enlightening myself is a continuous process. Lot of work to do. Now this is just the beginning of the journey. I'm well aware of that part.
Welcome to ENLITE IAS Toppers Talk. Today we have with us ARCHIT DONGRE, who secured 3rd rank in the All India Civil Services Examination. Hello Archit,
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, so just tell us a bit about yourself. Like, where are you from? What did you study and all?
So, I come from Pune, basically. I have done my 11th and 12th from Pune. But my primary education has largely happened all across the country because of the nature of my father's employment. My father was an ex-Air Force officer. So, I did my 7th to 10th from Mumbai. And thereafter, I have gone on to pursue engineering from VIT Vellore in electrical and electronics engineering. Post that, I was placed in my college, so I went on to work in an IT company for about 11 months as an associate software developer. So it is around that time when I kind of decided to go for the civil services as a career option, based on a lot of different things. For example, my desire to have a lot of diversity, experiences, and to learn, basically, which is what prompted me to sort of look at civil services as a career option, despite the things being around this exam as a very difficult paper. So that is basically my journey up till now.
So yes, that's exactly what it is. Civil services is an exam which is unpredictable and uncertain to a very great extent. So usually aspirants face a kind of I would call it a dilemma as to decide, okay, should I prepare? Should I prepare full time? Should I do part-time preparation? Should I quit my job and all that? So a lot of, I think, conflicts and, choices. You have to make a lot of hard choices, I guess.
Yes.
So how did you face such a situation, or how did you decide that, yes, I have to? You said that you quit your job. So that might have been a very tough decision for you. So what helped you, or how did you arrive at that decision?
I think more or less it is a very individualistic journey. It is a very individual decision. There is no hard and fast rule that if you do not, if you only work full time on this exam, that you will make it. And there is no hard and fast rule that if you have a job or you're a working professional, that there are no lesser chances of you making it. We have seen many times that people who work full time come out with flying colors, with even in top 5 ranks, people have been seen. So the reason that prompted me to quit the job is that in the first attempt while I was working, I was able to put in fewer hours. That is primarily because of personal decisions as well. I was going to the gym for 2 hours a day, watching a TV show at night with my parents.
If health has been an important choice for you.
Yeah, that is an important choice. So I missed the first prelims by 2 marks, which is when I realized that I had an inner gut feeling that I wanted to quit my job and I wanted to give a full-time preparation and one attempt without a job. That was a very individual decision. So I don't think it is necessary for everybody to do that. Now that I think of it with the benefit of retrospect, I feel like if I would have had made more sacrifices, there is no saying that I would not have had the same rank.
Yeah.
So that is the kind of thinking that goes on behind that. Very personal decision and totally up to the individual.
Okay, so what you need is basically a focused preparation. If you're able to do it along with your job, well and good. Otherwise, you need to have a personal discipline, a schedule for that, which will help you in your.
I would like to add a point in that. I think about the first attempt sometimes, and I realize that because I had a 10 to 6, 9 to 5 kind of job, the hours that I had put in, those were very, very productive hours.
Yes.
I mean, in Delhi when I came, I used to study the whole day, but I still recall fondly that the first attempt, the study that I had done helped me a lot even in these current attempts, right? So when you are productive, you have paucity of time, you tend to utilize that time better.
Absolutely.
So in that sense, I think working professionals would do well if they utilize that time quite smartly. So yeah.
Okay. So that brings us to the preparation for the examination. The first step is the prelims, right? So that is, and as I understand correctly, being a mentor and a teacher in this profession for quite some time, that prelims is the most tricky or the most uncertain part of the civil services. Altogether is uncertain, but prelims is the exam where there is maximum elimination, right? Lakhs of people write, thousands clear. So the elimination rate is very high. But the thing is, all the aspirants have almost the same kind of resources. Because everybody asks you to read the NCERT books for the basics, Lakshmikant for polity, Spectrum for history, and all the same resources. So in spite of this, in the sense when there is a level playing ground as far as the resources are concerned, in spite of that, a lot of candidates are pushed out of that competition. So how can you streamline or focus your preparation in such a way that, or how did you do it? Like, we want to know your experience. Streamlining the preparation in such a way that you make it to the prelims, because you said that you missed the prelims by 2 marks.
2 marks in my first attempt.
So then, how did you overcome that hurdle of making a prelims a sure shot for you?
So the first step in that aspect was to learn from my mistakes. I thought about why I did not clear prelims in the first attempt. So the answer in front of me was that the questions that I had attempted were low. It was around 65 questions, and I missed by 2 marks. This just goes on to say more about how you have to start taking risks in the paper. So, like you mentioned, the sources are the same. So, essentially, what we are saying is that everybody has the same starting point. After this, the next steps will determine whether you clear the prelims or not. Firstly, the sources that we have, how much fundamental clarity we have on those resources. For example, economics. We see year on year they ask these simple questions on whether if repo rate is increased, what will happen to inflation, if Fed tapering starts, what will happen to the appreciation or depreciation in rupee values. These are very fundamental economic conceptual questions. Secondly, it is more about practice. We have to solve papers, we have to realize whether we are good at educated guessing or not. Everybody knows the same things. It is how we apply that knowledge. I mean, if there is a question in which I am able to use my knowledge and eliminate up to 2 options, I will attempt that question. There is a certain kind of risk-taking mechanism that you will have to develop as to how many questions you have to attempt. For example, in the first attempt, it was quite low. In the consequent attempts, I attempt around 85 to 87 questions. How do I know this? This is because I have practiced a lot in prelims. I realize that when I am in this range, I tend to do fairly better. And it kind of gives me a sense that, okay, if I have to make a guess and I've eliminated 2 options, generally I do well in that. Net positive scores are seen.
In order to reach this stage of making this calculated guess,
you have to practice a lot. You have to give a lot of mocks. Maybe you can. So this is the exercise that I did. In the first paper, I did around 95 questions in my mock. I realized that a lot of questions were going into negative marking. So I slightly reduced the amount of guesses I was making to a point where the net positive scores were optimum. Okay. That is the second thing. Thirdly, this is an exam, and what you studied throughout the year and what you do in those 2 hours, that is a completely different game. You'll have to practice giving the exam in that time, in that environment with people. So these all India mock tests, these kind of practice examinations, especially giving the paper at 9:30, the exam time is going to be of significance.
So basically, it's a kind of a simulation.
Simulation.
You will have to just do it.
Basically,
try to recreate the environment in which the examination. Okay.
Go through that process over and over again till it loses its huff in front of you. So basically, I remember when I went for the prelims, I was totally fearless. I was like, I'm going to give a mock paper.
That's a very interesting thing that you mentioned, because I've only seen a very few candidates who say this, like, I'm fearless when I go to prelims, because that's important, right? So how did you develop that mindset? This is only through the practice that you're saying.
I mean, I am very clear that prelims is largely a game of confidence and mindset. You'll take risks when you're confident. You'll read the question carefully when you're calm. You'll make educated guessing when you are speaking to yourself. There should be a conversation going on in your mind. Like, you look at the options, you're like, do I think this is right? Can this be possible? Would we do this? Will central government have these kind of powers? Does this national park lie in this area? What does the name signify? Like, a lot of times your name will sound as if it's in the northeast part of the country. The South Indian names are especially very typical. So you have to talk to yourself. Does it seem likely? And especially to eliminate options, you'll have to ask yourself, what do I know about this thing? This concept is being asked. I'm not totally aware of this, but I've read a few things. This kind of conversation will happen. You'll have to recall, and recalling will happen only if you're calm. To be calm, you'll have to practice multiple times and simulate yourself through the process. So I think more or less prelims is a game of confidence, mindset, practice, and smart question solving and risk-taking abilities. These 5 pillars, I feel, will get people through prelims.
Okay, maintain that dialogue with yourself and you'll be through.
You have to talk to yourself.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. That's good. Next level is the mains, right? So again, that's a different game. Because in mains, I think the demand for the examination is very different from that of prelims. So what do you think the exam demands out of an aspirant?
In terms of mains, I feel it's more of an analytical paper. They will ask you questions where you'll have to think on the concept that we have studied and also give your opinions on those factors. For example, AI and agriculture. We know a lot about it, but how do we feel it will change the scene of Indian agriculture in the next 10 years? That's a kind of a question that is up for intellectual conversation. It's basically a conversation you're having with the examiner. They will ask you very specific things that you'll have to address effectively, which is essentially what people call fulfilling a demand of the question. So, way forward, how would you improve it? What are the challenges that are being faced? What are the current developments, examples, all these kind of things that you'll have to know. So a sort of analysis to the things that are given in the syllabus is what is required in the mains exam. Especially fulfilling the demand of the question, it should not be irrelevant. The arguments that you are making have to be extremely apt. So for example, I remember at 2023 mains, there was a question as to how women-led NGOs are facilitating women participation in the political sphere. Now, that is a very, very specific question. You can't just start talking about women-led NGOs that are doing it in terms of women empowerment, society, etc. It is very specific to the political arena, more so because the women reservation bill that was introduced. So it is very contextual, and you'll have to deliver content as per the demand of the question. So I think if you stick to the demand of the question, you give a lot of data, facts, examples, substantiate your arguments with relevant examples and graphs, flow charts, diagrams. Overall, make it visually appealing for the examiner to give you marks.
How do you do this?
So basically, I went through a lot of topper copies in this attempt as well. I used to transcribe the question that the topper had written. I used to write my answer in time. Then I would go and compare. So a lot of times these toppers had done these very interesting things, like for example, draw diagram, make arrows, draw a flow chart. This is how you learn.
Make it as visually appealing as possible.
Visually appealing, creative, satisfy the demand of the question, make it easier for the examiner to check. Now, if I write a paragraph, searching for the keywords is going to be difficult. This is something I changed in this attempt as well. I start my bullet point with a keyword and then write my sentence with an example at the end. So, just by the first glance, you can see the keyword, you can see the example, you can see the heading that I'm addressing and the question. So, sort of this will help you to get an edge over other people, even 1 mark per question, 20 marks overall. So
these are two different things, right? In the sense, prelims demands a different set of skills, and mains examination is a totally different game.
Yeah.
So how important is it to integrate the preparation for both these exams? Should an aspirant, like spend more time on prelims because there the elimination is high, but if he or she spends a lot of time in prelims, then that might compromise his, time that is available for him to spend on mains. So how important is it, or how can you balance or integrate this preparation for?
I think the preparation will be integrated because the sources for especially GS are the same. I mean, for prelims, what you'll be doing is, because essentially you start by reading the books, the standard books, which are going to be the same for both the papers. You will have a conceptual clarity of the concepts given in the book. For prelims, a lot of times you will have to rely upon recognition. This is something I read in the book. I remember this word. It's appeared in the options. What do I know about it? Okay, fine. This is related to this. Maybe I can eliminate this. For mains, what you'll be doing is understanding the concept behind it, which is kind of like a story in your head. You know the concept. You can write it in your own words. You don't have to write verbatim. So that is one of the aspects. I genuinely feel that if you prepare well for prelims, it will help you a lot in mains because the trivia, these examples, names of national parks, just
that helps
names
in
of
enrichment.
NGOs. Exactly. That is your validation basically. So I don't think there is a different book to be read for prelims and different book to be read for mains. It is an overall integrated preparation. Make sure that you are clear with the concepts. You know a few examples, which is essentially what you'll be doing throughout your preparation, and substantiating these things with current affairs and test paper keys will generally make you good in the subject overall. So which will help you in both the papers. Yeah.
So that brings us to the question of current affairs.
Yeah.
Current affairs is, I think, is very, very pertinent in all stages of the examination, right? So how to prepare for it, but again, you have a lot of compiled materials and all that, but still mentors and teachers, everybody stress on the point that you have to read paper. Reading a paper is very, very important. But here in India, we have aspirants from different mediums of instruction, Marathi, Malayalam, Hindi, all those mediums of instruction. So is it, again, important to read any paper regularly, or is it helpful to read an English paper, or is it just helpful to read the paper alone, or do you have to supplement it with other modes of material for current affairs? How do you do it?
So the basic funda behind reading the newspaper is to have a general awareness of the happenings. It will improve your reading skills. It will help you in language as well if you intend to give the interview in the English medium or the Hindi medium. Essentially, in UPSC, the game is in the mains exam, which people write in 2 languages. So I think reading one of these 2 papers is going to be important. Any reputed newspaper which covers national news is going to be helpful. Alternatively, I think with Google Lens and these AI tools, you can translate these papers in your own language. I'm not very sure how effective that is, but we can explore those options. Other than that, I think the compiled material that comes for current affairs, these kind of UPSC oriented things will be helpful in the sense that it will help you eliminate the irrelevant news that comes in the newspapers. For example, political infactions and fighting over seats, this is not going to be very relevant for the exam. What it harps back to is the basic fundamental concepts in the polity syllabus, right? So focusing on the static part from the current affair, global happenings, etc. is going to be important. We don't have to chase and go behind headlines. We have to look at what is in the syllabus, sort of make that kind of correlation, revise those concepts and know what are the general trends or the happenings that are going on. For example, Supreme Court judgments will become important because they'll sort of amend some kind of law. This is basically coming back to your polity syllabus, right? Something that RBI does in terms of changing the repo rate. So you'll go back and revise inflation. So these kind of things will help you. So basically just reading a newspaper is an exercise in getting familiarity with the concepts so that you know what are the probable areas that questions can be asked from.
So what you are suggesting is like take the syllabus, keep it as a kind of guiding light, and then do your newspaper reading. Basically. And like, have you prepared notes and all from newspapers?
I don't think it is a very smart way to go about current affairs. There'll be so many newspapers coming throughout the year, and that compilation that you made will waste your time and you'll not be able to revise that.
Okay.
And we don't know what is the return on investment in current affairs. I mean, it's not that high.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a futile exercise. We should just read newspaper, understand the concepts, and if we find some relevant or intriguing examples, we can just make a small notebook for it. For example, we can use something in ethics, or there is some data or fact or some diagram that comes in the newspaper. You can put it in your data fact sheet book. So that can be used in your GS3 for validation and GS4 for example giving. But other than that, I think just read the newspaper.
So just out of curiosity, did you have notebooks for each paper? Like, how were your note making? How did you do your note making?
I basically use the printed material.
Okay.
I just highlight with different pens at different stages of the readings.
Okay.
So if I'm in the final phase, I'll use a fluorescent highlighter. In the earlier, I used to underline with a pen. So at the end of the day, what was my last color code, I will just read those parts of the book.
Okay.
So example, Lakshmikant, mein jo highlighted portion hai, I can revise Lakshmikant in 3 hours now. Because I just read the highlighted part, which I know I tend to forget often.
That is very smart.
So I don't waste time writing notes. I don't have these sheets of paper. People are asking me to put them out. I genuinely don't have like handwritten notes. But for the mains, that A4 sheet approach, where you use one syllabus point and you make a short A4 sheet note on that based on challenges, way forward, data fact, at one place will be very helpful during the period between prelims and mains. So essentially your revisions will get faster and more efficient. So that is the approach. Other than that, I don't think note making is that relevant. You can just use the material that is there because they're already very short and concise. So yeah.
Okay, all right. That brings us to the optional. You being an engineer, electrical engineer?
Yes.
Electrical engineer by profession. You ended up taking philosophy. That's, I think, two ends of the spectrum, right? So how did you arrive at philosophy? Like, can you, for any aspirant, I think, one of the most important questions, or again, one of the dilemmas that he or she faces would be what optional to choose. So what is an SOP for choosing an optional? Like, is it your aptitude? Is it the availability of a good mentor? Or, is it the scoring of over the past years? Like, or is it a combination of all these three? Like, what made you choose philosophy out of this?
So personally speaking, I was very interested in the subject from the get-go. So the environment at my house, people are very interested in reading books on philosophers, authors, etc. So that kind of put an influence on me, and I was very sure that I wanted to take philosophy. Other than that, a few logical things that came up in my mind is that philosophy, looking at the syllabus, firstly very interesting, very detailed. You don't have to learn the whole philosophy of the person that is the philosopher basically. There are very specific points in his philosophy that are of importance in the UPSC examination. Firstly that. Secondly, philosophy in general is a static subject. There is no new developments happening in philosophy. What Kant has said is said and done. So unlike other options which tend to get bulky over time with current affairs, global happenings, etc., philosophy stays the same. There are repetitions in the previous year questions. There is a specific thing asked about the philosopher which goes back to the syllabus point. And I mean, Mahesh sir and the team at Enlight, I found great mentorship. So that kind of made the subject interesting for me. So all these factors combined with my personal interest and the syllabus, which is very short, concise and detailed, kind of gave me this confidence that I should probably go for philosophy. This is something that I can do. Plus, from my experience now in retrospect, I don't think background matters at all in this subject. If you enjoy thinking about philosophies and like indulging in these kind of concepts, you will definitely do well in the paper.
Okay. So for a fresher who is trying to choose an optional, what do you have to say?
I'll say just go through the syllabus once, maybe do a introductory class, see if this is your cup of tea, look at topper copies to see what kind of answers they're writing. Just in general, think whether you are interested in the concept or not. If you feel like you're a very technical person, you don't like to read what other people have said, you want to solve your own question, then maybe like something of mathematical nature interests you. But if you enjoy reading what philosophers have said, if you like thinking about the world, I think in general it's a great option, to be honest. Like syllabus is cut short, concise, detailed. This will all help you. I mean, it's not vague in that sense. What people have these ideas about philosophy, it's ambiguous, esoteric, nothing of that sort. Very crisp, concise, and relevant.
Okay. You are a national topper in philosophy, so that you have set a mark there. So what distinguishes you from a normal aspirant and a national topper? What extra did you do in your optional preparation, philosophy optional preparation?
In terms of philosophy, I think Mahesh sir and his guidance was of great significance. I mean, I still remember I started my philosophy preparation in earnest between the period between prelims and mains when I joined the test series at Enlight. Before that, I was just reading material and making my own notes, which I didn't kind of discarded at the end because the Enlight material was so concise and crisp. I read that multiple times. That is the first thing I did. So what you asked, the first point is revise the Enlight notes, which was short and concise, limited resources, revision multiple times.
Okay.
Secondly, whatever feedback I got from the test papers that I had given, I was able to adapt those points quite effectively in my answers, which I know because I saw a gradual improvement in my marks over the period of the test series. So that is one thing. Other than that, just brainstorming the syllabus points with Mahesh sir, pre-test, post-test, both on Zoom, getting personalized feedback, and just in general breaking down the syllabus and thinking about what kind of questions can be asked. The PYQs are a great guide in this sense. There are discussions in the Enlight Google folder from previous years, discussions on philosophy papers, test series, and finally at the end we got that sheet of most probable questions from each philosopher. Yeah. So I mean, I won't say it's that is the only thing. The notes plus these kind of guidance sheets that you get will kind of make your preparation extremely strong. You will kind of know what to write when the question comes.
And it helps you in streamlining also, I guess, when you get a sheet like that. Okay,
because
that's a good way of thinking.
You kind of know if something is asked about philosophy of Kant based on theory of knowledge, you know it has to be about synthetic a priori concepts. You will make those four types of knowledge, and then you will criticize him. So there's this SOP procedure of how to write an answer. So this I came to know with Mahesh sir, thought about it, the feedback, criticisms, whatever I got, I was kind of able to incorporate these things in my answers quite well. So adaptability and being aware of the syllabus and limited resources, multiple revisions, I think that is the key.
Okay. You are from Pune, right?
Yeah.
And Enlight IAS is in Trivandrum.
Trivandrum,
right?
Yeah.
So from Pune to Trivandrum, how did you end up? How did you end up at Enlight IAS?
I mean, just with philosophy, I was looking at people who have topped in the subject, and every topper leads to more toppers. So Avinash Kumar sir, AR 17, was one of the toppers from Enlight, and I kind of followed his notes because he had really high marks, 300 plus marks in philosophy, which is again a mythbuster because people do consistently get 300 plus marks in this option. So I kind of looked at where he went for coaching. His topper copies were available online on the Enlight website. So this kind of led me to calling up Enlight and asking what is the scene about the test series, etc.
So was it online or offline?
Online.
So how was online? You mentioned that you got you were mentored by Mahesh sir. So how was the online experience? Like, is it essential for a candidate to just trust on offline resources, or can the same efficacy be achieved through online mentoring also? How do you feel about it?
Personally, for me, I felt like online mentoring was great. Offline mentoring, there are aspects of commuting. Maybe the thing about online mentoring which I really liked was that I'm on my desk writing a philosophy answer. I have a doubt, I click a photo, send it to my sir. I get replies within hours. Yes, it's that smooth, that easy. You are on call, always available. You are on Zoom. You can share your test copies, just scan them, send the PDF. I mean, there is literally no difference between those two. Perhaps I would go one step ahead and say that online was more efficient for me. In terms of the time that I saved.
In the comfort of your desk, you can prepare.
Exactly. So, nothing, no difference between online and offline. I think online works great.
Okay. I happened to speak to Mahesh sir also before the interview. He's my mentor also. So, he told me that when I spoke to him about you, he told me that he has always been a very good aspirant, and good in the sense, a very systematic aspirant. So he told me that there are some qualities which stood out in him. So I would just like to ask you about that. As far as what he told me, he said that you are very adaptable in the sense that, like, when he gives you a feedback, that feedback is incorporated in your next answer. And you are very realistic when it comes to your expectations. Oh, okay, this is an unpredictable exam. I might crack it, I might not. It's okay. So it was a kind of a very as you mentioned before, you were very calm and grounded in your approach. And also, your writing speed was something that he mentioned specifically, that you succeed in completing your answers in the given time. But that is not at the cost of the quality of your answer. And also discipline. Discipline in the sense that, see, if it's a Sunday, then Archit's answer would be there. He would send that answer sheet to me without fail. So how did you, like, I don't know, is it a conscious way of approaching an exam, approaching the examination, or was it kind of all these qualities came to you naturally?
I mean, if there is a will, there is a way kind of approach.
True.
So discipline was definitely necessary. Even this time when I was going for rank improvement, I just know the fact that you'll have to work really hard, because getting till 153 is one thing. Breaking that barrier and going till the top ranks is going to take a lot of effort. So discipline just came from my desire to do well in this exam. I like philosophy. I like the mentorship. I have trust in Mahesh sir, that whatever he's saying, if I implement it, it will be definitely beneficial for me. His reputation spoke for himself before I came to this class because of the previous toppers. So there was a sense of comfort. Let me just do this. Plus the limited resources that we have at Enlight, the short notes, I revise them multiple times. Anybody who has a doubt might just go to the PYQ question papers, look at the previous questions, read these notes, and see if they can answer them. I can guarantee you will be able to answer 99% of all those questions. Those 1% unpredictability, like you said, I was grounded because I know hoga to hoga, nahi hoga to nahi hoga, came from the fact that it will be the same for everybody. Every optional has this kind of unpredictability. Other than that, I think completing the paper in time is very essential. For example, the first test that I gave at Enlight, I had taken 40 minutes extra, and I had written the answers very detailed. Lot of examples. That is where I think the role of realistic expectations also comes in. We have limited time. Writing the paper in the time is very important. At the same time, delivering all the essential aspects of the philosopher. That is something that I learned from Mahesh sir very well. There is this short note approach. If there is a question on Plato and his theory of forms, there has to be a mention of why was the necessity for Plato to come in and defend himself against the sophists. You will give the theory of forms, you will write all the relevant arguments, you will write the criticism from Aristotle, and then you will maybe conclude with the relevance of theory of forms and how it helped shape the philosophers in later times. So this kind of a overall approach and this short note approach where you cover all essential aspects of the question will give you the marks that you need, and at the same time practicing them and writing this kind of a holistic answer in the given time will kind of give you the confidence that you'll be able to deliver the same in the real paper as well. So I think writing very detailed answers in extra time versus writing the essential aspects of the philosophy in the given time, I think that I would choose the latter.
Okay. How was interview for you? Like it's a personality test. They call it a personality test, not an interview. So, what was the experience? Was there any? Was it tough for you, or was it challenging? How was it pleasant? What was it? What was it like?
It was unexpected, to be very honest. But I think my belief in the fact that this is a personality test has been reinforced for the simple reason that I was not aware of many things in the interview, especially my undergraduate degree, the electronics and electrical engineering part. I've been out of touch with that subject for about 4 or 5 years now. So I had basically revised the basic concepts of engineering and etc. But the detailed aspects of how load shedding is happening, what are the nitty-gritties of power transmission? I was not aware of it. So one of the gentlemen panel members asked me 5 to 6 questions on this, and I was saying, I don't know, sir, I'm not aware, like non-stop. But just that thing, you have to be confident.
So what were you thinking then? Oh, I've lost my interview. Did you panic?
Yeah. I mean, to be very honest, there was a sort of sinking feeling in my stomach. I am here now. This is completely ruined. But somebody had told me that don't get bogged down. Like they will try to do this to you. They might want to see your reaction if you break or not. So just this smile on my face and humility. Sir, I'm not aware, and I'll go and read about it later. I mean, I missed this. I am not aware. So honesty, humility, maintaining a positive attitude kind of helped me in that situation. I mean, 190 marks I have got this time, which says that interview is fairly good. So I think that your personality will kind of make up for the knowledge gaps in your interview. It is not as if you're not able to answer questions that they'll mark you, but questions on your DAF, questions about yourself, your experiences and your certifications, if any, in your DAF, you will have to be thorough with that, because if you are not, it kind of gives this impression that you have kind of lied, which is not a good thing. So question on current affairs, very detailed aspects of your subject.
It's impossible to know everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they know that. I mean, they're trying to get a reaction out of you. They're trying to see how you function in that kind of environment, right? So, I think, just being positive in the interview helped. And
attitude is what matters. Right?
Yeah, attitude is what matters. And I like to say that philosophy as an option helped me a lot. Because, because when philosophy is in your DAF, everybody likes to have a conversation with you. This is my general observation. Both interviews, there was a proper conversation of philosophy. They'll ask you like, what is Vedant? Like, maybe they practice at that age. Maybe they're interested in philosophy. It's a very nice conversation, a very conversational interview, and you can think and give your opinions on that philosophy. Maybe you can give some criticisms. It makes up for a good interview, and if you are well versed with philosophy, definitely it's in your advantage. So,
a single digit rank is, I think, every aspirant's dream, right? So was it a daydream for you, or have you ever felt that, okay, I can make it? And also when I spoke to my sir, he was saying that, I asked him the same question, not now, before. So he was like, one day it will happen, like my student, one of my students will secure a single digit rank. So when I spoke to him yesterday, he was like, yes, now it has been realized. So it is a dream for an aspirant and also for a mentor. So what do you feel about it?
I just genuinely think that his belief in me, just very grateful for that actually. To be very honest, I didn't expect top 3 rank, but in fact, last attempt when I had secured 153, I had a conversation with him on the telephone, and he was like, now you have to go for about 10 rank in the top 10. I kind of laughed it off at that point of time, but then I worked on the lacunas, I put in the hours, so by the time the result period was coming around, there was a big expectation inside me, I want this, like I really should get this rank. So this desire was there in me definitely, but I've been blessed beyond expectations, so definitely.
And he had told me one more thing that, had he got just 5 more marks, then he would have been rank 1.
Well, I don't think I should complain at this point of time. God has been great, so.
Oh, that's nice. So I think we have a kind of a manual into how to exactly prepare civil services, and that too from somebody who has secured one of the top ranks in the country. So added to this, I know this is what you have to, it's not advice, but this is your experience with the exam. So that's what you have shared with the aspirants. Are you planning to engage with them in any other way, or, to help the people who aren't actually in need of getting the right kind of guidance? So,
with philosophy option especially, I think there is a lot of myth around this option, which I kind of want to remove. Background, technical or non-technical, I don't think it really matters that much. If you're interested in philosophy, you should explore that option. For the benefit of aspirants, I have recently just started a Telegram channel with my name as UPSC AR3 2024 in brackets. So that is something that I've done, where I've put what I have done exactly in philosophy. I'll be sharing things on GS as well, because I have got that mentorship from Enlight as well. As Joseph sir and Abu sir have been very kind enough to give me personalized feedbacks, going over each and every question. So that kind of approach I would like to share with the aspirants. Other than that, just any doubts or anything that somebody is facing, more than happy to clear that, always available. With the time that I have.
Do subscribe to his Telegram channel if you are a serious aspirant. I think that would help you a lot. And just one last question. Enlight's motto is enlightening minds, enlightening journeys. How enlightened are you, and how has your journey been lightened?
I think enlightening myself is a continuous process.
Yeah.
Lot of work to do. Now this is just the beginning of the journey. I'm well aware of that part. But in terms of the journey up till now, it has lightened my journey beyond expectations. So just very grateful to the whole team. Very nice people actually. Very homely environment. I mean, I met sir after a very long time for the first time. So completely different experience and really grateful overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we now have a kind of a manual for a preparation for any aspirant who is aspiring to secure a good rank in the UPSC examinations. What you need is consistent hard work, discipline, and the right attitude. Like, you make it, well and good. If you don't make it, you'll still try. That's what ARCHIT has been telling us all this while. So thank you, ARCHIT. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best for your
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
you
you
so much.